Welcome everyone to the Tisha B'Av Forgiveness Workshop. We are here to do some awesome work together. And when you do awesome avodas Hashem, you feel good because we're doing something good. We're adding to Avas Yisrael. I'm really excited to be here with you. Let's get a little bit of participation going before I head you into the topic. And please, please just put put something in the chat box that lets us know what you want to get out of today's experience. Okay? And if you could type fast, that would be awesome because we have a lot to accomplish today. Thank you. Love seeing these names come in. Welcome. Okay, amazing. We've got some chats in the chat box. And whenever you put something in the chat box, you're literally signing your own tefillah, your own intention. So it's enormously powerful. I'd love to learn forgiveness for myself, Rachel, forgiveness, Leah, forgiveness, Limor, forgiving, Saradite, spiritual growth, Yasmin, learning to release my defenses and flow into forgiveness, forgiving a sibling, enhance the relationship. To the one who said hello back to you, looking forward to deepening my understanding of the concept and doing better. Self-forgiveness and awareness, healing, forgiving myself to forgive others, revealing more of my soft heart, feeling relieved that I can finally let go of the resentment that's stuck in my heart, how to process forgiveness, breaking down the walls of trust. Amazing. So I want to let you know that I actually had a conflict. Shall I do a forgiveness workshop or a self-forgiveness workshop? Because self-forgiveness brings us like closer. It's a tshuva. It brings us closer to Hashem, to ourselves. And the determination that I made was that on Tisha B'Av, let's work on forgiveness, because this is a very proactive thing that we're doing for the world. And closer towards Elul, I hope to be offering you a self-forgiveness workshop, and we can do that work there. And you'll see from this work that it does overlap, okay? So I have two major openings for you, all right? Major opening number one is the story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. A quick review. There was a man who had a party, and he wanted to send out an invitation to his friend named Kamsa, but by mistake it went to his enemy, Bar Kamsa. So Bar Kamsa showed up to the party instead. This man was extremely upset. He said, "Get out of my party." Bar Kamsa was like, "I'm so embarrassed. Can I just stay, please?" And he's like, No, I did not invite you. And he said, "Please, I'll pay for all the food. Like, just let me stay." And the host said, "No, I do not want you here." And this Bar Kamsa was so embarrassed, and he looked inside and he saw that there was all these rabbis sitting at the table. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, like the rabbis are not even coming to my defense. This is just, his insult and his injury was deep. And he went to the Roman Empire and Emperor, and he told them Lashon Hara on the Jewish people. He said to them, because he got this scheme to get back at the whole of the Jewish people, because he wasn't just mad at one. We all represent each other, especially if there's rabbinic authorities there. So he told them, if you give an offering, a sacrifice, the Jewish people is not going to accept it. And they're like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, they do not like you. They do not respect you. You'll see." So they gave him an offering to bring up to the temple. And what he did was a very tricky thing, was he created a blemish, which is like a physical cut on this animal. And then they weren't able to bring it up as a sacrifice because that's not according to the law. Okay, thus far we know. And it says, this is why we had the Churban Beis Hamikdash. This is why everything got demolished, because of the story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa and how there was a lack of peace and kindness. Well, guess what? The story has a part 2 that I only heard this Shabbos from my husband. So it turns out that when Bar Kamsa brought up the sacrifice, the rabbis realized, oh my goodness, we are going to be in massive trouble if we don't like put this up as a sacrifice, the entire Roman Empire is going to be angry at us. If we do, then we'll be going against Hashem's law. What should we do? So they started to come up with all kinds of ideas, like, maybe we should bring it up anyway, because we just have to. Or maybe we should kill Bar Kamsa and make a lesson out of him. Like, he's the real problem, not this animal, right? And there was a great man named Zechariah ben Avkolos. And as the Sanhedrin, which is the governing body, was giving these ideas of like how to solve the situation, he kept saying, no, can't do that. We can't kill him, because if we kill him, then we'll have to it'll be like setting a precedent, like we kill anybody who brings up an unblemished animal. Oh, we can't bring up the blemished animal, because then we'll be setting a precedent. And everything that they said, he said no to. And it says, there is a source that says, Rabbi Yochanan says, that because of the humility of Rabbi Zechariah ben Avkolos, the temple was destroyed. So this is earth-shaking. The understanding of this is as follows. We had a situation that was really bad, like any situation in our lives, in our relationships, that was really bad. We needed to come up with a solution. It had to be out of the box. Maybe it wouldn't have made sense. Maybe it wouldn't be perfect. Maybe it would be for this time only. But we had to do something. We couldn't just go on like this. And it did indeed cause the Khurban. But this rabbi had too much humility. And what is the understanding of his humility? That he should have said, whatever, we're going out of the box. We're doing whatever we have to do. I'm going to take responsibility between me and God that sometimes you got to do crazy things in order to find peace. And I'm just going to do that, and it's going to be okay. His humility in trying to stay with all the rules exactly is considered part of what brought down the Beis HaMikdash. So I offer that as story number one for you to take into your forgiveness work, because when you want to repair a relationship, it's never going to be normal. Something happened in the relationship. It's not going to be normal. It's going to be different. It's going to require out-of-the-box thinking. It's going to require putting aside a piece of yourself that you really love, or it's going to be becoming an actress in some way that, is not natural to you. But for right now, you're just going to be an actress, and you're just going to do this thing. But we learn from this story, for me, it was extremely profound. Like, don't have such humility. Don't play small and think well, I have to play, I can't be an actress. I can't be a faker. I want to be authentic, for example, or I can't do that because it wouldn't be nice, or it wouldn't be honest, or, or if I'm unnice to her, it wouldn't be nice to him. These kinds of things, they're going to be our demolishment. We got to think out of the box when it comes to shalom. So that is story number one. Okay. Go ahead, if you feel comfortable, and use the chat box to just write what you got out of that story. I shared with you what I got out of that story. And it's always helpful. I might not read all of them, but everyone else will read them to concretize what is our takeaway and learning from this experience. Okay. Yeah. Second story I have shared with many of you, but it is very good. No, I'll share a third story. The second story, I shared it so many times, but it's my favorite story. You can put in the chat box if you saw me, if you ever heard me tell you the story of, I'm not going to remember it. Okay, let's do a third story. So this third story is really, 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 really interesting. I heard it from my son-in-law. So I have to look up this study, and some of you scholarly ones are also going to look it up because it's mind-blowing. Essentially, the study was called Colony 47 or Colony 57. And there was a scientist, and he did an experiment with mice. And he thought to himself, I'm going to give these mice everything, and let's see how they live. Let's just, take a look and see what happens. So he got them a great big cage with all the, bells and whistles, things to climb on, everything, a lot of fun for them, tons of cheese. a lot of that sawdust that they like to be in. And these mice were in this cage. And after a certain amount of time, all the mice died. They died. And he's like, what? What did they die from? Like, he starts checking them. Like, do they have this illness, that illness? Nope, they're just dead. So he decides to do it again. And he has all these mice in the cage. And I see your question, Bracha. We're going to get right into the forgiveness work after this story. He has all his mice in the cage, and he gives them everything, delicious cheese, everything that mice would like, things to hang on, things to climb on, tons of space, everything they want. And these mice are going about living their lives. And then one by one, they all die, but they're not dying of disease. What in the world is going on? So he keeps working with these batches of mice. I once had a mouse in my house. I'm sure I had more than once, but I remember learning at that time that one mouse can make 50 mice in a year. It's a lot of mice. So he had another batch of mice, and this went on and on. They kept on dying. Again, I've got to look up the study myself to get all the juicy details. But at some point, he was trying to like rack his brain, like, what is happening with them? Because the mice started to act really weird. Like they would take cheese and like place it in little circles around them. And then they would nest themselves in the middle of their cheese to protect their cheese. And then they would just like lay there like globs munching on cheese. And then some mice even started getting attracted to the opposite gender, which literally just doesn't make sense. Like, why were they acting so weird? So at some point he had an enlightenment, and he introduced a rat into the mice's cage. Well, you know what happened to these mice? They suddenly came to life, to absolute life. They had an adversary. They had something to fight for. They all gathered together. They stopped laying around, and they had to team together to beat this rat. And eventually they did defeat the rat, and they were alive, and they were with it, and it was awesome. And then the rat was dead, and the mice all died again. And he proved from this experiment that, like I said, I've got to read the proper details, that mice, and certainly people, are made for challenge. It's not just that challenge brings something out in us, but like the very act of the challenge is our activating mechanism. Like that's what we run on. Like it says, the Yetzer Hara was created on day 3. It says it was tov ma'od, it was very good, not just a good day. So keeping that in mind, I want to offer that as a perspective, because this work of forgiveness is a massive challenge. And if you're working with a particular person, sometimes it could even be a daily challenge. And if you can keep in mind, like, whoa, Hashem loves me. He's challenging me. Instead of Hashem is smashing me, or Hashem is twisting me, or Hashem is hurting me, to kind of keep that challenging perspective in there, you can hold on to your own nobility of spirit in a very profound way as you watch yourself meet the challenge day after day after day. Okay? All right. If you got anything from that, put it in the chat box. Hannah Tamar, will you please help me by gathering the questions? There are questions in the chat box that are specifically towards forgiveness, and we might want to answer them at the end. Oh my gosh, Sarah, I found it. Universe 25. Thank you. I just heard it last night, and I had a challenge last night, and I was like, Hashem, you're challenging me. So thank you. Okay. So we have 2 questions on forgiveness. Can someone forgive someone but not continue the relationship since that person isn't healthy? Absolutely. Chayecha kodmim, which means your life comes first. Only do things that are healthy for your life, please. And don't think that you're doing any great favors by engaging with someone that is not good for your life. You can bless them, you can love them, you can do all kinds of things, but that is not what the Torah says. The Torah says very very specifically that this chayecha kodmim, you got to put your life first. Don't engage where it's unhealthy. How far do I go to initiate the repair until I say I've done enough? So there's something called Tohe al Harishonos, which is an idea from Rav Dessler. Tohe al Harishonos means I regret what I've done. So we try to do things only up to the point of naturalness and maybe a bit more stretch, because if we get to the point where we've exhausted ourselves and we get into resentment, then we enter into the realm of Tohe al Harishonos, which means I regret ever being that nice. And when you get into that realm, you actually hurt your own goodness, which means next time you're not going to be that nice or that good to somebody else. You're hurting a part of yourself. So you never want to, like, you don't want to twist yourself into a pretzel. You want to be appropriate. Okay? All right. Okay. Great. Baruch Hashem. All right. So ready to head in? We need a pen and a paper. Thank you all for being here. So we are basing our forgiveness work, which is going to be a 10-step process, mostly on the Torahs brought to us through Sari Hudi Schneider. You could read her book, You Are What You Hate, and there you will see all kinds of amazing sources. Weirdly, I found similar ideas from someone named Colin Tipping, who has since passed away, who is a righteous Gentile. So some of the way that I understand it is actually influenced by his psychological understanding, but it's in harmony with the Torah understanding. And the basic Torah understanding goes like this, that every single person that we tangle with is our upside down soulmate, meaning it's a shidduch, it's an actual match. They're there to bring something out in us. We are there to bring something out in them. Okay, so that I'll say the name again. Yes, Sari Yehudi Schneider, You Are What You Hate. It's a scholarly work. Colin Tipping, I would only read the first few chapters. After that, it starts to get a little Christian, but just the way that he brings out for me is very nice. Okay, so in other words, that means that these enemies that you have, these people that really hurt you, they're actually there in some way to elevate you. And the question is, how can you get this elevation? And once you get the elevation, the book explains, you release the sparks, you release the work that was meant to be done with them. In other words, we needed to be together for a while until the work was done. Now you can be released. And when you do forgiveness work, you actually can experience that, not immediately, but with time. That, like, I remember when I was doing this work, I would do a body check around this particular person, like, because there was a time when I would just hear their name and like my body would feel it, and I would just keep on like checking my body, and now it's like not a thing. It's just not a thing. The work has been done. It's not a thing. Baruch Hashem. New work has arrived. Okay, we'll get into it. Okay, so get ready for a lot of writing because we are heading in. I will share with you my screen. However, if you look in the chat box, you will see that Hannah Tamara, who lovingly offered to support me on this workshop, she's also going to be putting the prompts in the chat box. Okay, Hannah Tamara, I'm going to open up my page over here. Would you do the honors of reading this intro for me? Give me a moment.
Releasing Resentment Worksheet. Welcome. You are all about to head into some very special work. I would like to acknowledge you. It takes a big soul to step into forgiveness. It takes a beautiful spirit to want to release resentment. I honor your sincerity and your goodness. Forgiving people is one of our most difficult and most transformative works. Through the process of encountering the pain or betrayal, we come face to face with the deepest parts of ourselves. The most agonizing moments in relationships hold the key to the most profound realizations and growth. Yosef was sold into slavery by his very own brothers. How intense was this betrayal? Yet, when he met his brothers years later, he said to them, "Don't be sad, because it was Hashem who sent me here to sustain you. You may have thought you were hurting me, but all along, Hashem was sending me to a mission of royalty." Our part is to be willing to forgive. Only Hashem can transform our work into true cleansing and heal our pain. He who comes to be cleansed is helped. I have no doubt that when we do this work, heaven is cheering us on. The world is experiencing incredible light, and Hashem is amazed and delighted at his precious children. Wishing everyone blessings, Rivka Malka.
Thank you. You read that so nicely. Okay, we're going to start writing. And Hannah Tamar, can you privately message me based on our in-depth how much time we get for each of these sections? Because I don't have it. Now, the very first thing is what happened. This is so important. And if we were doing this type of work, if I was doing this type of work with you on a coaching session, we would spend an hour on this. Today, we're going to spend 10 minutes, okay? But what happened? Tell the story in as many words as possible. Write it out in all the rich detail, including all the feelings from the victim's standpoint. In other words, you were the victim. Okay, we'll get to your heroism another time, but like something actually hurt you. Invite all the feelings to come forth and accept them. Be thorough about this and hold nothing back. This is an important part of the healing. Okay, I'm going to get some music going. And Hannah Tamar, are you able to grab that from the worksheet and put it into the chat box? Okay, thank you. Please let yourself write without any judgment. Just being a human being. I am holding a space for you. You can imagine that Hashem is also holding a space for what you're going through. It's okay if the story gets a little bigger, because that's what happens. Sometimes stories have tentacles. Just, it's Tisha B'Av. You get to take up some space with this, okay? Doing great. Got more time. Really hold a big space for yourself. Just be a person. And we get challenged. We're hurt. It's all good. Just checking in with everyone. If you need more time, please let me know in the chat box. Otherwise, we'll wind down here. You're done. Okay. Just want to make sure that you're engaged and all's good. We do have time, so don't worry. Don't forget to breathe while you write. Sometimes we just hold our breath, but if you can just relax your chest and exhale, from an open place. May take a few reminders, but here it is. Going to be winding down. Yeah. And this song just reminds us that we are doing Mashiachic work. We're doing very, very big and beautiful work over here together. So thank you. All right. So what we're going to do next is a little bit interesting, specifically if you have not done this before. And what we're going to do is we're going to break down the story so that we can almost see it in a more cerebral way, okay? And this method is called PIES. I learned it from my friend RT, who I think is on here. And it's a way of breaking down a trigger. And we're using it today to kind of make a very big emotional story a little bit more manageable. I'll show you the PIES instructions just in a moment, but I'll explain it to you first. So the idea is that whenever anything happens to us, the way that it lands on us becomes, becomes our reality. It's not objective reality, it's just our reality. Like, let's say if I didn't say hello to you and you felt insulted, so then your reality is Rivka Malka, didn't say hello to me and doesn't like me, right? That's how your reality comes to feel. But what it actually, and you get to have that reality, it's okay, it's just how you feel. But what we learned through this method of PIES is that there is a difference between what actually happened, which is Rivka Malka didn't say good morning, and the story that you tell yourself, okay? The interpretation that you give it. So in our lives, PIES anyway is a very useful tool in order to say, okay, what actually happened and what am I making of it? And when we look at what am I making of it, which is the story that I told myself, this is not in any judgmental way. In fact, it's got a certain amount, for me, a certain amount of humor in it. Like, this is how human beings behave. We think someone doesn't like us, even if they've been our friend for 10 years because they didn't say hello. Human beings are funny. It has compassion in it that some stories could sting so badly. It has honesty in it, where we just admit, like, yeah, the story that I told myself is, I'm jealous, or she's better than me, or she's prettier than me, or she's, she doesn't want me there. All the stories we tell about people, not to mention about the he's in our life. That's more stories, right? So what you're going to do right now is you're going to take the story that you've just written and you're going to rewrite it just for 5 minutes before you were writing for longer than that. I'm going to break it down in PIES. And as I mentioned to you, I will share the PIES model with you right here so that you can really follow along. Okay. So the first is the P. We call it PIES because it's physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. So the P is the physical facts. That means what happened that I can objectively say with my 5 senses happened. This is not like, this is not open to interpretation, okay? Like, she doesn't like me is an interpretation. She did not say good morning, or she was quiet. That would just be something that I experienced with my 5 senses. Oh, look, I have the same example over here, okay? Then once you break down your story to the physical facts, and this is not easy if you're not used to this, because usually we enmesh our triggers with our story and what happened, and it's a big mess. So if you're new to this, I apologize in advance if it feels very like, help, did I do this right? But So you're going to break it down. First, here are the physical facts that happened. Don't add on any interpretation. Then interpretation, the story that I told myself about these facts. And this is where you get to remember that the mind is a meaning-making machine and it makes all kinds of meanings. And here's the meaning that I make of it. Here's what I told myself about it. I'm not a good mother. I'm not a good wife. I'm not a good friend, and all the things. And there can be many, many stories, and that's okay. All right. We just want to give voice to the stories because it lets us take ownership of how we process things. Then we go to the emotions. And because emotions are so complex, we try and work with the core emotions, which means that the other emotions come out of these core emotions: sad, mad, glad, hurt, afraid, and ashamed. So for example, embarrassed would be like an extension of ashamed, right? Or frustrated may be an extension of mad. But for the purposes of this exercise, we just name whichever emotions there are. And sometimes there can be all of them because we are complicated. Then comes, in my opinion, the most beautiful part, which is my spiritual longing. What I really want is, and this is where you get in touch with what you really want. And the most beautiful awareness is that when you start to know what you really want, you start to understand why you were so triggered in the first place. So it's kind of like the spiritual longing really like it begins the healing process. What I really want. And what's important about what I really want is that these are things that are about you, okay? I want friendship. I want to be respected. I want to not be alone. Different things like that, what I really, really want. All right. So time to get to work again. If it looks like Chinese to you and you do it your way, that's okay too. Nothing's going to happen. Just do the best you can. We'll give you 5 minutes. For those of you who asked about the music, I take my cues from the many kumsitzes that are around. If you don't know what a kumsitz is, it's a sing-along, and it takes place in a very moving way, especially on Tisha B'Av. So this music is just people singing. If you don't like it or feel somehow that you cannot, then just turn the volume down for the next 5 minutes. I'll come back to this share. I'm just going to get the music. You should be writing now.
Now live once again, together, together. You stood by our seat forever. You must stand together forever. You come and stand beside my stones to raise your voice in prayer. You ask, when will this gullus end? How much more can we bear? But Sinas Chinom still lives on. It lingers in your heart. How can you come back home to me while you remain apart? Together, together, you stood by our Sinai, my daughters and sons, forever, forever. You must stand together forever as one, together, together. stood by our Sinai b'nei Avraham forever and ever. You must stand together forever as one.
Doing great work, everyone. If you've just joined, send a private message to Hannah tomorrow and she can catch you up.
B'Shem Hashem Elohei Yisroel, Mimini Michoel, U'mismoili Gabriel, Milfonai Uriel, U'meyachoirai
Got another minute. Enjoy.
V'al roishi shchinas B'Shem Hashem Elohei Yisroel, Mimini Michoel, U'mismoili Gabriel, Milfonai Uriel, U'meyachoirai refoel. V'al roishi shchinas
I know you're doing a lot of writing. Doing great. Got 30 seconds left. Okay, amazing, beautiful. Feel free to shake out your hands if you feel like you need to shake out your hands. That would make sense. So don't worry about that. And just know that you're doing amazing work. Even if your work stopped right here, you've already given spaciousness and breath to your experience. You're allowing Hashem to come in. It's Tisha B'Av. It's like a cozy time with Hashem where he wants us to have healing. So even if you just did this, that would be more than enough. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to take it a step deeper. And we're going to take a look at what negative beliefs came up for us about ourselves with this story, okay? These are some negative beliefs that I have about myself that are coming up with this story. Sometimes people ask me, what's the difference between that and pies? The negative beliefs are actually just phrases. These types of phrases, they live in our psyche, our nervous system as little phrases. They almost repeat a lot. I'm not enough. I'm never, I'm always alone. I always have too much to do, whatever it is, right? So this is going to be a positive process that we're going to do together, but it starts by really looking at what came up for you with this story. What exactly did it trigger? Okay. And this is just going to take you 2 minutes. And again, in the spirit of love, if you were speaking to the most compassionate being on the planet, who would be saying wow, I'm so sorry you feel that way, or you had to feel that way. It's a quick one, so we're not going to do music for now, and then we'll go to our next one. Doing amazing. Great. Just another minute. Okay, winding down. You'll notice that this particular worksheet is very I-centered versus other-centered. This is because we can't control other people, but it is worthwhile to just make note that our Torah does hold people accountable for wrongdoings. There is a system of legal justice. And even as was mentioned earlier, if there is someone in our lives who is simply not good for us or not healthy for us in some way, we are by no means like called upon to be very close to them in ways that are not good for us. So there is always, we don't condone like misbehavior at all. But in the healing, we stick to where we do have control. All right, let's hop to it. All right. I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to ask you on this very special day. This is not always so easy to hear. So on this very special day, to kind of take a breath and open your heart and read together with me. Okay. It's not even easy for me because it's such a tender day. All right. This experience was designed by Hashem as a healing opportunity for me. His love for me is so great, and he wants to open up any part of me that may have been hurt and hiding. Therefore, I now explore the following. What earlier story in my life does this experience remind me of? How long have I had these beliefs about myself? When did they start? How did they form? So here is where we're going to pause to say that in the work, much of which is the Arizal, etc., by Sarah Yehudit Schneider, she speaks about the ways that our enemies, so to speak, actually heal us. They pull us into where we need to be. Her example that's most easy to reference is where she says, Hikriv Paro. Paro drew close, and the Mefarshim, the commentaries there say, Paro was responsible for drawing the Jewish people close to Hashem because of his terrible behavior. And this is exactly what we're talking about. Like, Paro brought us close to Hashem. He gets that. Yeah, that was part of his role. Okay. So we're taking that idea and we're kind of blending it with the earlier ideas that I mentioned through Colin Tipping, through the way that I understand work, which is we can't understand Hashem's entire plan for us in any situation, but could there perhaps be a piece of healing for us with the part that was triggered? Could it be that he awakened us to a place where we were not whole out of his great desire to bring us to wholeness? And we see this in many, many circumstances. Maybe I remember someone who was very, very shy, who ended up with a special needs daughter and had to become an advocate, thereby Hashem like moving her, pushing her into this place. So that's our lens for our work today, is what might Hashem be wanting to heal in me, for me? Because we definitely don't want to go around with any kinds of like sad, gullus distortions in our mind or our being. All right. I don't know if you have been writing while I've been talking, but I'm going to give you some time to write. And if you'd like, you can also say these words out loud if that's meaningful to you. You're doing so good. Just by asking this question is like, okay, Hashem, what did you want from me? What do you want with me? It's such beautiful closeness. And beautiful. We have 1 minute to write on this.
As I stand in candlelight, with my hands upon my eyes, there's a passion in my prayers that rends the skies. For a mother's tears can shatter every gate that bars the way. All the heavens will echo those words that mothers say.
Vizakeni, Vizakeni, take my children by the hand, help them walk along your way.
We're going to be winding down.
May they never go astray, may they know you.
We'll get that ready. All right. All right. Let's stop our share. Okay. Oh, you need that song right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, I actually just skipped that song. we'll have to help you with that, Shoshana. And Shoshana is a dear friend of mine, actually working through something pretty impressive. So maybe Shoshana, I'm gonna call on you in a little bit if you allow me to. Just send me a message if you're okay with having your voice be heard. Okay. All right. Actually, Shoshana, are you comfortable reading right here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we're in step 5.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Right. Each person is born with a beautiful, lovable, and innocent essence. This is something that is. It cannot be taken away. It is the truth of our identity. My younger self did not fully know this. She believed her negative self-judgments. I offer her compassion, a hug, holding, and love. What are the words of comfort and truth my younger self needs to hear in order to release these negative beliefs? I write a letter to my younger self and tell her these words again and again.
Thank you, Shoshana. Amazing. All right. So we're at the halfway point, and let's just take stock of where we are. Go ahead if you would like to put into the chat box just how you're feeling. You're about to write a really important letter. So we want to just kind of like soften the soil. Is that how we say it? Yeah, make sure that it's coming on good soil, on an open heart, and one that understands this process. If there's any confusion about the process, I'm right here. We can explain. Okay, just gonna look at the chat box to see what you put in there. Oh, this is wonderful. Tender. 1 second. Let me stop my share. Like I'm unwrapping a sealed present layer by layer. Hopeful, upset. Yes. Will we get a copy of the worksheet? Very emotional, but ready to heal. Overwhelmed, connected. Yeah, I'm happy to share this worksheet. Okay. To the one who is hopeful, that's amazing. To the one who is upset, that's amazing also. We're holding a space for you. Not amazing as in like a great movie, but we're holding a space for the feelings that are coming up. And we have still some time left. So may Hashem open up doors of healing for you. And may you be blessed with an insight. Very emotional, but ready to heal. Overwhelmed, says Gittel. Yes, it is overwhelming. So this is a good time if you need to just breathe through this one or keep it shorter. That's okay. You know, just be good to yourself. Connected, much more free, hopeful. Thank you for asking. Someone says, what if what happened has no bearing to my younger child? So the way that I understand this type of work is that when we look towards the inner child, it's really our inner self. Anything that came right before this is our, is our inner child, is our past self. So it's a little bit of a misnomer. It doesn't work for everyone to call it a younger child. Sometimes even, let's say someone got married, so that like that young bride, that's like a whole nother inner child coming up, like that's a newness and a tenderness. So please use these words like just in a general way and make it work for you. Yeah. I'm having trouble pinpointing the negative beliefs that live in my head. I'm feeling more negative about the other people in the story. Yeah, that's so interesting. Karen, because I'm not in a specific conversation with you. I don't quite know how to answer that. But what I would say is that if you can hold even the negative feelings with the divine embrace, just giving room for your pain, giving room for compassion towards yourself, because, such negative things did happen. What I believe is that it could still go a long way to opening up the channel of shalom or a channel of healing. intense. It's bringing up past resentments that I worked through. Yeah, feeling it in my body, feeling confirmed. Fascinating. It has opened my heart. Why, since I have these beliefs, the story of my past sadness, loneliness, but I feel grateful and hopeful. Yeah. All right. Well, I feel grateful to all of you. We have one more. Often for me, when this happens, the negative belief can look something like, others don't show up for me. I'm not worthy of their support. I will always have to fight to be heard. My feelings don't matter. In other words, your negative beliefs towards someone else is a mask for the negative beliefs that you have about life. Yes. So much gratitude and compassion. Okay. I just want to thank everyone for writing in the chat box. It just feels like a much more cohesive experience. We are really doing work here together. And like I say, you can't buy this work at Walmart. We're doing it. So we're going to write the letter to that younger self starting right now. And any younger self that it is. We're on a pretty strict timeline here too, because we don't want to keep you late. So it might be a little shorter, but very loving.
Ki Lashem HaMelucha U'Moisheil Ba'Goyim Ki Lashem HaMelucha Ki Lashem HaMelucha Ki Lashem HaMelucha U'Moisheil Ba'Goyim V'hoyo Hashem Limelech Al Kol Haaretz V'hoyo Hashem Limelech Al Kol Haaretz Oyoy Bayoim Hahu Yeh Hashem Echad Yeh Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad Ki Lashem HaMelucha Ki Lashem HaMelucha Ki Lashem HaMelucha U'Moisheil Ba'Goyim
Gonna be wrapping up.
Hashem Limelech Al Kol Haaretz.
Okay. Would really like to be giving more time to that, but we don't have it. Come back here. Where am I? Okay. All right. Nechama Leah, who just wrote in the chat box. Would you like to read next?
Sure.
Okay. It's nice to hear your voice. Hello, hello.
It's good to hear you too. So we're on number 6?
Yes.
Okay. Just gonna zoom in a little here. Healing. I invite Hashem, God, into this experience. I ask him to please enlighten me and help me connect the dots to his great and loving plan for me. What does he want to heal within me? What greatness has grown, has developed in me because of what I went through? What is this training all about? How does it fit into my life's work? I write a letter from Hashem to me, and I read it to myself or have it read to me in the most loving tone.
Thank you. That was a very loving tone. Okay. It's Tisha B'Av, and we are in communication with Hashem. We are working. Doing great. So beautiful. Such a beautiful space going on right now. Got 1 minute left. Doing great, and we are wrapping up. Breathing while you write. I have to remind myself, even while I sit there, to breathe. Really beautiful. Okay. You're doing so great. Please give yourself a massive acknowledgement. So much has happened already. You're opening up to yourself, to the story. And let's see what happens next. Siggy, I see you're on. I'm just I'm just calling on names that I see or recognize. I don't see everyone from my screen. Siggy, would you like to read?
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you. With pleasure.
Oh, it's a short one. Go ahead. Number 7.
I thank Hashem. I bless him. I ask for his support to heal my heart. I do this verbally and in written form.
Great. So we're going to be writing for another 2 minutes. And I know you're doing a lot of writing, but when the workshop is done, you don't have to do any more writing. That's what I could tell you. Okay? All right. Forget that whenever we thank Hashem, we speed up the Yeshua. Because just by thanking him, we've already like answered the call of what he wants for us. He wants to be close to us. So when we choose to thank Hashem in any situation, it's like we get to the end of it quite quickly. We're already in the Yeshua vibration. And Hashem knows us. He knows our innermost secret, those uncomfortable feelings. Nothing is too small for Hashem. When you ask him to heal your heart, go for it. He knows. We've made it so far. Let's see what comes next. Sarla, would you like to read? Are you still here? Where's my people? There you all are. Okay. Sarla, are you here? Lily, are you here? These are just some names I remember. Here. No? Okay.
Hi. Okay, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah.
I hear you. Okay.
Beautiful. Okay. Number 8, I begin to get clarity that which came to hurt me actually came to heal me. I see the person or circumstance, and in my mind's eye, I surround them with light. I verbally and energetically release them into Hashem's arms so that he may guide them to their own healing. I feel Hashem's compassion all around me. I am blanketed in comfort. I am okay. I embrace myself with all that I have been through.
Thank you so much for reading. So step 8 is really, it's an energetic step. As they say, the most selfish thing that you can do is to pray for your enemy. That's what gets them away from you. That's what releases. And it's as if, the two of you came together for some good tikkun, and by energetically releasing them and davening for them that they should do tshuva, you accomplish that which was meant to happen between the two of you. So this is one of the more difficult steps. And the way that we can do this step is twofold. One is to really deeply focus on us. To Hashem, we are his only child. And when you focus on yourself and what Hashem wants to build within you, and that he never takes his eye off of you for even 1 second, and he's more compassionate than any compassion in the world, it's all for you, that can help you from this kind of like inner tantrum of, what? I'm never going to, give anything, send anything good that way. That's one thing. And then the other is to understand that this type of release is a spiritual release. It does not as yet have to be an emotional release. You are spiritually, which means cerebrally and with your neshama, saying, Hashem, please take that person and help them to do teshuvah. That's my prayer for them. Also, it's not necessarily healthy to say that prayer again and again. It can bring you back into enmeshment with that person. But it certainly is something that you can do today on this holy day. And as you do that, just feel that like the threads of enmeshment can be completely loosened or somewhat loosened. Okay? You don't need this in your life. I used to work with a healer, and like when she would work with me, she would say like, you don't need this, do you? And I would have to say, yes. Like my being would have to verbally agree to it. So yeah, yes, exactly. Yes. All right. So you don't need this, do you? No. All right. You can write that down in your own way. Another thing that you can do, you can turn your camera off and say this little tefillah, if you would like to do that. Or this also counts. You can draw a little picture of this person going to the light, going to tshuva, going like not near you. And you can even set up any type of force field that you would like around yourself, any type of boundary that makes you feel good, if that's necessary for your situation. Okay. All right. Here we go. Going in. Rita, do you want to read, or are you still not in a zone?
Yes, I can read.
Thanks. Okay, maybe let's do it. Number 9.
Number 9, learning. I ask myself what I have learned from this experience. Is there anything that I want to do differently for the future? Is there anything new that I learned about the ways that I get triggered? Do I need specific boundaries in place? Do I need to use my voice more? I allow wisdom and understanding to fill me as I outline how I want to show up the next time.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to do a bit of writing over here. See if you can stay in the space of openness and learning rather than going back. Sometimes it's, you can end up going back to the original upset, but you're much wiser now. That means more options are available to you.
Ishoma, Ishoma, Biore Yehuda, Uvechutza is Yerushalayim. Oy meiro Hashem.
You're working really hard. Thank you on behalf of yourselves.
Ishoma, Ishoma, Biore Yehuda, Uvechutza is Yerushalayim.
Okay. I hope you learned a lot. We're almost finished over here. And like we're always evolving. So at the beginning of this talk together, I opened up with you about that medrash, right? And it's not on our worksheet, but I would like to make the offer now. Is there anything out of the box that you can do to make more shalom? Again, this is not on the worksheet. The worksheet, when I made it, was all about like clearing yourself. But on Tisha B'Av today, I'm going to take a risk with you here. The answer is not going to be yes for everybody. It's just some things you can't do. Or maybe you can think out of the box and do something like wacky. Who knows? Is there anything that you can do for shalom out of the box, related to that person or related to that experience or with that person? Go ahead and write it down. If you cannot do anything with that particular person for whatever reason, you may be able to bring something new to the world in a different way, just from that experience. And in that way, you're still creating more shalom from something that was miserable. Okay. I feel like if you're going to do this, it's going to come quickly. So I'm just going to give it a few seconds. Aviva, that sounds like wonderful. Communication is like the heart of everything. Absolutely. And sometimes you do need a mediator there, but yeah. If you need to call on me, feel free. I just was blessed to mediate a conversation. It's very beautiful when two people talk. Shoshana, I wonder if it's misplaced chesed. I don't know what that was referring to. Might refer to a conversation. Sometimes conversations don't help. Thank you, Michelle. Is it in a way denying our pain though? PL, I don't have clarity on what you're writing about, but please go ahead and if you would like to, you can just explain it a little bit more. We're going to go to our last step. Okay. Okay. Our last step. Hannah, tomorrow, would you like to read for us?
Breathing.
Mm-hmm.
You may want to do this for a few minutes. You may also want to put on music. I inhale and exhale the breath of freedom from victimhood and the true Emunah, faith that I belong to Hashem and He is taking care of me. I am in His hands. I am a beloved child and a noble queen. I have been elevated through this process. And I am elevating the world by doing this work.
Thank you. So I saw that one or two of you needed to jump off. That's totally fine. If you would like to stay with us for these last 5 minutes, the breathing is so important for integration. And then we're going to have one more integration piece over here. Okay? So that's my invitation to you. Of course, if you need to go, you need to go. That's okay. Let's breathe through the rest of this song. Allow yourself to close your eyes. Get really present to your surroundings. You can feel the seat beneath you, your feet on the floor. And just let your breath slow down and feel that Hashem has been with us. He's always with us, but especially when we come over here to do this tshuva work.
I koil chasam v'koil kala koil mitzalo ischasanim eichupaso uniorim mimishtei neginoso koil sasayin v'koil simcha koil chasam v'koil kala koil mitzalo ischasanim eichupaso uniorim mimishtei neginaso.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So beautiful to integrate with music and breath. We're going over to our final piece over here. All right, let's read it together. Make sure that I'm sharing. No, not. Okay. As I feel my heart more open and available to love and compassion, I decide to do something wonderful for myself. This is a tangible gift that I give myself as I witness my spiritual beauty. I plan it and I do it. Please do not skip this vital step. And I love to quote Sari Yocheved Rigler, who teaches that when the neshama does something difficult, the guf wants a reward. The body wants a reward. So in honor of your work here today, please write down something that you're going to do for yourself. It's okay if it's tomorrow, but let it be tangible and delightful. Adjasa, your smile is so big. I don't know why, but I love it. Like she's in on a joke. Okay. That's amazing. All right. Something awesome. Put it in the chat box if you feel like sharing. If it's painting your toenails, you know, it's okay. We got room. Sometimes we don't feel like sharing the things that are so dear to us that we do for ourselves, and that's okay also. But if you do want us to get excited with you, go ahead and put it in the chat box. Rona was saying that's amazing. Oh, I deserve a massage. Take a nature walk, a necklace. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Leah. That really moves me. Thank you, Cece. Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to turn off this recording. I will take a solo trip in a nature park. Wow, yay. I will take a day trip with my sister for biking, a spa, and possibly include my daughter. Yes. Loving it, feeling much better, knowing all this experience and how wonderful is our Hashem. So I've had a few experiences, and my intention is to learn more about this because I want to be able to give you like magnificent quotes. But what I've been learning experientially is that when we say we're going to do something, it really matters. It's not light in the heavens. It's really, really not light. That's why when you coach someone, you try not to give them like an accountability that's too high, they're not going to run 10 miles tomorrow. But I really am telling you from my heart and from my neshama that when you say you're going to do something, first of all, say bli neder, but also please know that there's two things that you said that you would do. One, I can't remember, right? You wrote the letters. Well, this is the main thing. Please, please do everything in your power. Oh, I know. If you decided to do something out of the box for Shalom, please know that you've like created a pathway for that and try your absolute best to do it. Of course, say bli neder because we're just human and that's how that goes. Okay. Oh, I've been working on forgiveness and I went deeper with this workshop. I shocked myself. Well, you are a very deep woman. I will share this joy with my spouse and family. Thank you, Sherry. Wow, amazing. Thank you, Malka. Hope our work brings Mashiach so much closer. Where can we get a copy of this worksheet? Yay. It would be my pleasure to share a copy of this worksheet. I will do it as soon as I turn off the recording. I'll just get to say this. Someone said this was a gift to me. Great. I just want to say thank you to you all. If anyone has been paying attention, which maybe you haven't or have, I've been very quiet in the online sphere, working my own stuff. So doing this today was like, should I do it? I don't know. But your participation was my reward that I am in relationship with you. So I really want to thank you very, very deeply. You did amazing work. Thank you, Hashem. All right, turning off the recording. Here we go. Thank you. Yay.